Is that Emma? Marcus Ashford's hand froze on his whiskey glass as he stared through the rain-streaked window of his Mayfair penthouse. His heart, a heart he thought had died 3 years ago, suddenly hammered against his ribs. On the street below, illuminated by the amber glow of streetlights, stood a woman. Even from 6 stories up, even through the downpour, Marcus could see her. The same honey-blonde hair. The same delicate frame. The same way she tucked a strand behind her left ear. Emma. But Emma was dead. He'd buried her himself after the car bomb meant for him had taken her instead. Boss? His right-hand man, Victor, appeared at his side. What is it? Marcus didn't answer. He was already moving, his expensive Italian shoes pounding against marble floors as he raced to the elevator. His mind screamed that it was impossible, but his heart, that traitorous organ, hoped. The elevator ride down felt like an eternity. When the doors finally opened, Marcus burst into the rain without his coat. The woman was still there, struggling with a broken umbrella outside the art gallery next door. Emma, he breathed, his voice barely audible over the storm. She turned. For a moment, time stopped. Marcus felt like he'd been punched in the chest. It was her face, Emma's face, down to the small scar above her right eyebrow, the full lips, those storm-gray eyes. But when she looked at him, there was no recognition. Only confusion. I'm sorry, do I know you? Her accent was different. American. Not the crisp British tone Emma had possessed. You. Marcus stepped closer, water streaming down his face. You're not Emma. No, I'm Lily. Lily Morgan. She studied him with concern. Are you all right? You look like you've seen a ghost. That's exactly what she was. A ghost. Or a miracle. Marcus didn't know which. Forgive me, he managed, forcing his racing heart to slow. You remind me of someone. May I? He gestured to her broken umbrella, then smoothly opened his own over both of them. Up close, he could see the subtle differences. A small mole on her neck that Emma hadn't had. Hands that were paint-stained, artistic. But the resemblance was uncanny, almost supernatural. Thank you, Lily said softly. I just moved to London yesterday. Not the best welcome from the weather. Where are you staying? She laughed, a sound that pierced straight through him. Even her laugh was similar. A hostel in Bethnal Green. I'm an artist, not exactly swimming in money. Something dark and possessive stirred in Marcus's chest. This woman, this impossible echo of his lost love, was staying in one of the most dangerous areas of East London. An area controlled by his enemies, the Volkov family. That's not safe, he said before he could stop himself. Lily raised an eyebrow. I can take care of myself, mister? Ashford. Marcus Ashford. He extended his hand. When their fingers touched, electricity shot through him. From the way Lily's eyes widened, she'd felt it too. Look, Marcus said, making a decision that would change both their lives. I own several properties in the city. I have a vacant flat in Kensington, fully furnished, security included. Consider it a welcome gift to London. I can't possibly. You can, and you will. His tone left no room for argument. Consider it karma. I wasn't able to protect someone I cared about once. Let me do this. Something in his voice must have reached her, because Lily's expression softened. Just until I get on my feet, she agreed quietly. Marcus nodded, already pulling out his phone to make arrangements. He told himself he was just helping a stranger. Just making amends for his past failures. He was lying to himself. From the shadows across the street, a man in a black car watched the exchange with interest, taking photographs. He smiled coldly and dialed a number. Dimitri? You'll want to see this. Ashford's found a new weakness. 3 days later, Lily stood in what was supposed to be a vacant flat, but looked more like something from Architectural Digest. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Hyde Park. The kitchen had marble countertops she was afraid to touch. The bathroom had a tub big enough to swim in. This is insane, she muttered, setting up her easel by the window. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number, settled in? Ma. She smiled despite herself. Marcus Ashford had been different from anyone she'd ever met. Intense, haunted, and impossibly generous to a complete stranger. Yes. This is too much. How can I repay you? His response came quickly. Have dinner with me. Tonight. 8 p.m. I'll send a car. Lily's heart raced. This felt dangerous. Not in a physical way, but in a way that threatened the walls she'd built around her heart after her disaster of a last relationship. I don't have anything appropriate to wear for wherever you'd take me. Check the closet? Frowning, Lily walked to the master bedroom and opened the massive walk-in closet. Inside hung a dozen dresses, all her size, all exquisite. Her hands trembled as she touched the silk and velvet. This was too much. Way too much. But even as she thought it, she was pulling out a midnight blue dress that would have cost her 3 months' rent back in Boston. At exactly 8 p.m., a sleek black Mercedes pulled up. The driver, a stern-faced man who introduced himself as Victor, held the door for her in silence. The restaurant was Sketch. Lily recognized it from Instagram, the place with the famous pink dining room where celebrities ate. They were led to a private room where Marcus waited, devastatingly handsome in a charcoal suit. He stood when she entered, and for a moment, just stared. You look. He cleared his throat. Beautiful. The dress helps, Lily said, suddenly nervous. It's not the dress. His eyes held hers with an intensity that made her breath catch. Over dinner, which Lily barely tasted, she learned that Marcus was in import-export and owned several businesses across London. He skillfully deflected when she asked for specifics, instead turning the conversation to her art. I paint memories, she explained, warming to her favorite subject. Not my memories, other people's. They tell me their happiest moment, and I try to capture it. Happiness, Marcus said softly, swirling his wine. That's a rare commodity. You sound like you don't believe in it anymore. His jaw tightened. I did once. I was married. She died 3 years ago. I'm so sorry. Lily reached across the table instinctively, covering his hand with hers. That's why I look like... Yes. His fingers curled around hers, holding tight. I'm sorry for my behavior that night. It must have frightened you. It didn't frighten me, Lily said honestly. It broke my heart. I could see your pain. Something shifted in Marcus's expression. Vulnerability flickered across his face before he locked it down. You're dangerous, Lily Morgan. Me? You're the mysterious businessman who hands out luxury apartments like candy. About that. Marcus leaned forward. I haven't been entirely honest with you. Lily's stomach dropped. Here it comes, she thought. The catch. I'm not just a businessman. My family, we operate in the grey areas of London's economy. Some would call us criminals. Some. Lily pulled her hand back. What would you call yourself? Necessary. The Ashford family has run this city for 3 generations. We keep order where the law can't or won't. We protect our territory and our people. You're in the Mafia. The word felt surreal in her mouth. That's an Italian term, but essentially, yes. Marcus watched her carefully, as if bracing for her to run. Lily should have run. Any sane person would have. But she thought of his pain, his gentleness with her, the sadness in his eyes. Why are you telling me this? Because I won't lie to you. And because... He paused, seeming to war with himself. Because you're in danger now. By accepting my help, by being seen with me, you've been noticed. My enemies will try to use you against me. Then I should leave. No. The word came out harsh, almost desperate. Stay. Let me protect you. I have a proposition. Lily laughed, though it sounded slightly hysterical. A proposition from a Mafia boss. This keeps getting better. Be my companion. In public, you'll appear to be under my protection, too dangerous to touch. In private, you're free to do as you please. Paint, explore the city. I'll fund your art career, give you the contacts you need. In 6 months, when my current situation resolves, you can leave safely. Wealthy and successful. And what do you get out of this arrangement? Marcus looked away. Peace. For 3 years, I've been alone. I've had no weaknesses for my enemies to exploit. But seeing you, I realize I'm tired of being alone. I'm not asking for more than companionship, Lily. Just, don't make me be alone anymore. The raw honesty in his voice undid her. 6 months, Lily heard herself say. And I want it in writing. A contract. Done. Marcus's relief was palpable. I'll have my lawyers draw it up tomorrow. And Marcus? Lily met his eyes. I'm not Emma. I need you to understand that. I know. But the way he looked at her suggested his heart wasn't quite convinced. As Victor drove her home, Marcus had insisted on leaving separately for her safety. Lily stared out at London's glittering lights and wondered what she'd just agreed to. In a warehouse across the river, Dmitry Volkov stared at the photographs of Marcus and Lily on his desk and smiled. So the ghost has returned, he murmured. This time, we'll make sure she burns. The contract arrived the next morning, delivered by Victor along with breakfast from Claridge's. Lily read it carefully, surprised to find it was exactly as Marcus had promised. 6 months as his companion, with a monthly stipend that made her head spin and a final payment that would fund her art career for years. There was one additional clause. Party of the second part, Lily Morgan, agrees to attend social functions as requested and present herself as being in a relationship with party of the first part, Marcus Ashford. Physical intimacy is not required or expected unless mutually desired by both parties. Lily's pen hovered over the signature line. This was crazy. Absolutely insane. She signed. Within hours, her transformation began. A stylist arrived with racks of clothes. A security detail was assigned, 2 former SAS soldiers named James and Cole who looked like they could bend steel with their minds. A driver, a new phone with a direct line to Marcus, and a credit card with no limit according to Victor's deadpan delivery. This is too much, Lily protested as the stylist zipped her into yet another designer dress. Mr. Ashford's companion must look the part, the stylist, Margot, said firmly. His enemies will judge any weakness. You must be flawless. The reality of what she'd agreed to was starting to sink in. That evening, Marcus took her to a charity gala at the Tate Modern. As they stepped out of the car onto the red carpet, Lily felt his hand settle at the small of her back, possessive, protective. Stay close, he murmured. Half these people would kill me given the chance. Smile and say nothing unless I indicate otherwise. The gala was a strange twilight world where London's elite mingled with its underworld. Lily recognized a prominent MP chatting with a man Marcus later identified as the head of a smuggling operation. A famous actress laughed with someone Victor whispered was a money launderer. And everywhere, eyes followed them. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Is that Ashford? Who's the girl? She looks like Emma. God, she's identical. Marcus's hand tightened on her waist. Lily leaned into him instinctively, offering silent support. Marcus Ashford. A cold voice cut through the murmurs. A man approached, tall, blonde, with ice blue eyes that held nothing but malice. He was flanked by bodyguards who barely concealed their weapons. Dmitry. Marcus's tone could have frozen vodka. I didn't realize they'd let you out of your cage. Such hostility. And here I came to offer congratulations. Dmitry's gaze slid to Lily like an oil slick. You found a replacement. How touching. This is Lily Morgan, Marcus said coolly. Lily, Dmitry Volkov. He's nobody important. Dmitry's smile didn't reach his eyes. Not important? You wound me. Though I suppose compared to the late, great Emma Ashford, we're all nobody. He focused on Lily. You poor thing. Do you know you're wearing a dead woman's face? That he looks at you and sees a ghost. That's enough. Marcus stepped forward, his entire body radiating threat. Or what? You'll kill me at a charity gala? Dmitry laughed. Even you aren't that bold. Enjoy your evening, Ashford. And your pretty ghost. He walked away, leaving tension thick in the air. Lily's hands were shaking. Marcus immediately led her to a quiet terrace, away from curious eyes. I'm sorry, he said roughly. Dimitri and there's bad history. He was involved in Emma's death, wasn't he? Marcus's silence was answer enough. Marcus! Lily turned to face him. What am I really doing here? Because I don't think this is just about companionship. He studied her for a long moment before answering. The families of London's underworld operate on tradition and perception. After Emma died, I became volatile. Dangerous. My own people worried I'd bring destruction down on us all. For 3 years, I've been alone, by choice and by necessity. It made me strong, but also isolated. And now Dimitri smells weakness. He's been testing my borders, pushing into Ashford territory. There will be war unless I show him I'm stable again. That I have something to protect and lose. That I'm the man I was before. So I'm a prop, Lily said, surprised by how much that hurt. No. Marcus cupped her face with surprising gentleness. You're a lifeline. Do you know what I felt when I saw you that night in the rain? For the first time in 3 years, I felt something other than rage and guilt. You're not Emma, I know that. But you make me remember what it was like to be human. Lily's breath caught. Marcus! I'm not asking for your heart, Lily. I know I have no right to it. But these 6 months, let me pretend I'm a man who deserves to be happy. Let me protect you while you chase your dreams. Is that so terrible? She should say yes. Should walk away from this dangerous, complicated man. Instead, she reached up and touched his face. Just promise me one thing. Don't love me because I look like her. If you're going to feel anything for me, let it be because of who I am. Lily Morgan, Marcus said softly, his thumb brushing her cheek. Artist. American. Brave enough to sign a contract with the devil. I'm already starting to learn the difference. For the first time since Emma's death, Marcus Ashford smiled, really smiled, and Lily felt something dangerous bloom in her chest. Inside the gala, Dmitry Volkov made a phone call. She's perfect, he told his second-in-command. Ashford actually cares about her. This time, when we strike, it will destroy him completely. Over the next month, Lily and Marcus fell into a rhythm. Days, she painted in her studio. Marcus had commandeered an entire floor of a South Bank building for her, while James and Cole stood guard. Evenings, she transformed into Marcus Ashford's mysterious companion, attending dinners, galas, and meetings where power was traded like currency. The London art scene embraced her with shocking speed. Gallery owners who would have ignored her emails suddenly courted her. Lily tried to tell herself it was her talent, but she knew the truth, it was Marcus's influence opening doors. Does it bother you? Marcus asked one night as they shared late-night Chinese food in his penthouse, shoes off, defenses down. These had become Lily's favorite moments, when he was just Marcus, not the feared Ashford boss. Does what bother me? That your success is tainted by association with me. Lily considered this, twirling low mine on her fork. At first, yes. But you know what I realized? Every successful artist has patrons. The Medicis funded Michelangelo. The Pope commissioned the Sistine Chapel. Art and power have always been intertwined. Pragmatic, Marcus observed with a slight smile. Realistic. She paused. Besides, the work is still mine. You can open doors, Marcus, but I have to walk through them. You're extraordinary, you know that. The way he looked at her made Lily's heart race. Over the past month, the lines of their arrangement had begun to blur. Marcus's hand would linger at her waist a moment too long. She'd catch him watching her paint with an expression that looked like hunger. And when he kissed her cheek in public, for show, she'd started wishing he'd move just slightly to her lips. This wasn't part of the deal. Lily was falling for a man who'd hired her to be a ghost's replacement. Tell me about Emma, she said suddenly, needing to address the elephant in the room. Marcus stiffened. Why? Because she's always here, Marcus. In the way you look at me sometimes. In the sadness behind your eyes. I need to understand who she was. For a long moment, Lily thought he wouldn't answer. Then Marcus stood and walked to a bookshelf, retrieving a small photo album. We met at university, he began, sitting close enough that their shoulders touched. I was supposed to study business, take over the family. She was studying art history, preparing to curate at the British Museum. The photos showed a laughing young couple, Marcus with longer hair and lighter eyes, before grief had darkened them. Emma was beautiful, elegant, with a joyful spirit that shone through every image. She knew what I was, Marcus continued. What my family did. She hated it at first. We broke up twice because of it. But eventually, she understood, or accepted, that I couldn't leave. The family isn't something you retire from. You loved her, Lily said softly. I loved her more than life. Marcus's voice roughened. Which is why Dimitri used her against me. He planted a bomb in my car. Emma borrowed it that day to meet a friend. The explosion was instant. She didn't suffer. Lily took his hand, intertwining their fingers. The guilt nearly destroyed me, Marcus admitted. I should have protected her better. Should have kept her away from my world. For a year after, I was not myself. I did things I'm not proud of. Started a war that left bodies on both sides. And then my father, before his death last year, talked sense into me. He said Emma would have hated what I'd become. That I was dictionarying her memory with my rage. So I stopped. Pulled back. Became cold and controlled instead of explosive. Until you saw me in the rain, Lily whispered. Until I saw you. Marcus turned to face her fully. And I know how it looks, Lily. I know hiring you, bringing you into my life, it seems like I'm trying to recreate what I lost. But I swear to you, that's not what this is. Then what is it? It's me being selfish enough to want to feel alive again. You don't remind me of Emma anymore, you remind me of who I used to be. Before the violence. Before the guilt. When you paint, when you laugh, when you argue with me about whether Banksy is genius or vandalism, I remember what it's like to be human. Lily's eyes stung with tears. Marcus! The crash of breaking glass cut her off. Before Lily could process what was happening, Marcus had pulled her to the floor, his body covering hers as gunfire erupted. Victor burst through the door, weapon drawn, shouting orders into his radio. More bodyguards flooded the penthouse, returning fire toward the building across the street. The attack lasted maybe 30 seconds. It felt like hours. When silence finally fell, Marcus pulled back just enough to scan Lily's face frantically. Are you hurt? Lily, look at me. Are you hurt? I'm fine, she managed, though she was shaking violently. I'm okay. But Marcus wasn't okay. His eyes had gone flat and dead, the eyes of the killer he usually kept hidden from her. It was Dimitri, Victor reported grimly. Sniper in the abandoned building across the street. We've got him now. Bring him to the warehouse, Marcus said coldly. Alive. Marcus, no. Lily grabbed his arm. Don't do this. Don't let him turn you into a monster. He tried to kill you. Each word was ice. He dies tonight. And then what? His family retaliates? More people die? When does it end? When he's buried. Marcus stood, his expression harder than she'd ever seen it. Is this what Emma would want? Lily played her only card. Is this the man she fell in love with? Marcus froze. For a moment, fury and anguish warred on his face. Then, slowly, he deflated. Get her out of here, he told Victor quietly. Take her to the countryside safe house. 24-hour security. No one gets within a mile. Marcus! Please! He finally looked at her, and Lily saw his terror. Please, Lily. I can't lose you too. Just go. Let me handle this. Lily wanted to argue. Wanted to stay and fight beside him. But the raw fear in his eyes stopped her. Don't kill him, she said firmly. Promise me. There has to be another way. I don't make promises I can't keep. Then learn. Lily stood on her toes and kissed his cheek. The man I'm falling for isn't a killer. Be that man. Before Marcus could respond, Victor was ushering her away, James and Cole flanking her protectively. As the car sped into the night, Lily realized with startling clarity that her 6-month contract meant nothing anymore. Somewhere along the way, her fake relationship had become devastatingly real. And the man she loved was about to make a choice that could destroy them both. The safe house was a sprawling estate in the Cotswolds, beautiful and utterly isolated. Lily spent 2 days pacing its rooms like a caged animal, painting frantic images of violence and fear while James and Cole stood silent guard. Marcus didn't call. Didn't text. The silence was its own kind of torture. On the third morning, Victor arrived, looking exhausted. "Is he alive?" Lily demanded before Victor even fully entered the house. "Mr. Ashford is fine." "Not Marcus. Dimitri. Did he kill him?" Victor's expression gave nothing away. "The situation has been handled." "That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you." Victor held out a phone. "He wants to speak with you." Lily snatched it. "Marcus? What did you do?" "Lily." Just her name, but his voice sounded wrecked. "I need you to listen carefully. The war with the Volkovs is over. There's been a resolution. But you can't come back to London yet." "What kind of resolution?" "The kind that keeps you safe." He paused. "I'm sending you to New York for a few weeks. I have an associate who—" "No." Lily's hands clenched. "I'm not running away again. I'm coming back to London. Today." "Lily, it's not safe." "I don't care." She was shouting now. "I didn't sign up for this just to hide when things get dangerous. You said you wanted me by your side. So let me be by your side, Marcus. All of it. The good and the ugly." Silence stretched between them. Then, quietly, "You deserve better than my ugly." "That's not your choice to make." Lily softened her voice. "What did you do, Marcus? Please. I need to know." "I didn't kill him," Marcus finally said. "Dimitri's alive. But I had to send a message strong enough that he'd never come for you again. I'm not proud of what that message looked like." "I'm coming back," Lily repeated. "Victor can drive me or I'll take a train, but I'm coming back. You don't get to push me away to protect me." Another long pause. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." "Then come home." His voice broke slightly on the last word. "God help me, I need you to come home." The drive back to London took 3 hours. With every mile, Lily's certainty warred with her fear. She'd fallen in love with a dangerous man in a dangerous world. The smart thing would be to run, to void the contract and go back to her safe, boring life in Boston. But her heart was no longer her own. Victor drove her straight to Marcus's penthouse, now with reinforced windows and a full security team patrolling the building. Marcus met her at the door, looking haggard, unshaven, like he hadn't slept since she'd left. They stared at each other for a moment. Then Lily was in his arms, and Marcus was holding her like she was the only thing keeping him anchored to earth. "I'm sorry," he murmured into her hair. "I'm so sorry. You could have died because of me. Again. But I didn't." Lily pulled back to look at him. "I'm here. I'm alive. And I choose to stay." "You shouldn't. I'm poison, Lily. Everyone I love ends up hurt." "Then maybe it's time to stop pushing people away." She cupped his face, forcing him to meet her eyes. "Tell me honestly, do you still see Emma when you look at me?" "No." The answer came without hesitation. "I see you, Lily Morgan. Stubborn. Brave. Too good for me. I see the woman who makes me laugh at 2 in the morning over bad Chinese food. Who argues about art with the passion most people reserve for religion. Who stands up to a mafia boss without blinking." "I see you too," Lily whispered. "Not the Ashford heir. Not the crime lord. Just Marcus. The man who feels too deeply and loves too hard. The man who's trying to be better than his worst choices. I don't deserve you." "Probably not. But I'm staying anyway." She took a breath. "Our contract is up in 4 months. I want to void it now." Marcus went pale. "Lily. Let me finish. I want to void it because I don't want to be your employee anymore, Marcus. I don't want a business arrangement. I want the real thing. All of it. If you can give me that, if you can really let Emma rest and love me for me, then I'm staying. Not for 6 months. For as long as we both want this. And if I can't? His voice was barely audible. If I'm too broken? Then you are, and I'll leave. But I don't think you are. I think you're terrified of losing someone again. I think you're hiding behind Emma's ghost because it's easier than risking your heart with someone new. Marcus's laugh was shaky. You see too much. That's my gift. I paint what I see, remember? Lily stepped closer. So show me, Marcus. Show me you're ready to move forward. Kiss me. Not for show. Not for the contract. Kiss me because you want Lily Morgan, not because I remind you of someone else. For a moment, Marcus just stared at her, conflict written across every line of his face. 3 years of grief, guilt, and fear warred with the hope Lily offered. Then he moved. His kiss was gentle at first, almost reverent, as if Lily might shatter. But when she pressed closer, her fingers tangling in his hair, Marcus deepened the kiss with a hunger that had nothing to do with ghosts and everything to do with now. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Marcus rested his forehead against hers. I love you, he said roughly. Not because you look like her. Because you're you. Fierce and talented and entirely too brave for your own good. I love you, Lily Morgan, and that terrifies me more than any bullet. Good. Lily smiled through happy tears. Be terrified with me. We'll figure it out together. Together, Marcus repeated, like he was testing the word. I like the sound of that. They sealed it with another kiss, neither noticing Victor discreetly closing the door to give them privacy. Outside, London glittered with possibility. Inside, 2 damaged people found the courage to hope again. But in the shadows of the city, not everyone was ready to let the past rest. Dmitry Volkov, nursing his wounds and his rage, made plans of his own. If he couldn't have revenge through violence, he'd find another way. After all, love made people vulnerable. And the Ashford boss had just revealed his biggest weakness. 6 months later, Lily's first solo exhibition opened at the Saatchi Gallery. The collection was titled Resurrection, a series of paintings exploring love, loss, and second chances. Critics called it haunting and brutally honest. By the end of the opening night, every piece had a red sold sticker. Marcus watched from the shadows, pride radiating from every pore as Lily charmed collectors and journalists with easy confidence. This was her moment, her success, untainted by his influence. She'd earned this on her talent alone. She's remarkable, Victor observed, appearing at Marcus's side with 2 glasses of champagne. She is. Marcus accepted the drink. Any movement from Dmitry? Nothing in months. The piece is holding. It had been an uneasy piece. Marcus's message had been brutal but strategic. He'd exposed Dmitry's money laundering operation to international authorities, costing the Volkovs millions and forcing Dmitry to focus on his own survival rather than revenge. No blood spilled, but the blow was devastating enough to ensure safety. Good. Marcus's eyes never left Lily. Keep it that way. As the crowd began to thin, Lily finally made her way to Marcus, her face glowing with happiness. We did it, she breathed. Marcus, they loved it. They loved you, he corrected, pulling her into his arms despite the public setting. I'm so proud of you, love. Love. Lily smiled at the endearment he'd started using. I like when you call me that. Then I'll never stop. Marcus brushed a kiss to her forehead. Ready to get out of here? I have a surprise for you. Another surprise? You've already done too much. This one's different. Trust me. Always. Victor drove them not to the penthouse but to a private airfield where Marcus's jet waited. Lily laughed in delighted confusion as they took off into the night sky. Where are we going? You'll see. 3 hours later, they landed in Paris. Marcus had rented an entire floor of the Ritz, and they spent the weekend wandering the Louvre hand in hand, eating pastries by the Seine, and making love in a bed overlooking the Eiffel Tower. On their last night, Marcus took Lily to Pont des Arts, the Bridge of Locks where lovers sealed their promises. I brought you here for a reason, Marcus said as they stood looking out at the illuminated city. Paris is where Emma and I got engaged. It was perfect. Traditional. Everything a proposal should be. Lily's heart clenched, but before she could speak, Marcus continued. But that was a different life. A different man. He turned to face her fully. I'm not that man anymore, Lily. You've changed me. Healed me. Made me believe I deserve a second chance at happiness. He dropped to one knee, and Lily's breath caught. I'm not going to propose in the same place. I'm not going to try to recreate the past. Instead, I'm kneeling here, in the city of love, asking you, Lily Morgan, the woman who saved my life, to be my future. Marcus pulled out a ring, not traditional, but a stunning design that looked like paint strokes solidified into precious metal, a diamond held by what seemed like brushstrokes of gold. I had this designed for you. Not a replacement. Not a copy. Something entirely new. Like what we have. His voice shook slightly. Marry me, Lily. Let me spend the rest of my life proving that love doesn't have to end in tragedy. That sometimes, broken people can build something beautiful together. Tears streamed down Lily's face as she pulled Marcus to his feet. Yes, she said, laughing and crying at once. Yes, 1,000 times yes. But Marcus, you don't have to prove anything to me. You already have. As he slid the ring onto her finger, Paris sparkled around them like it was celebrating too. They kissed as tourists took photos and other couples applauded, and for the first time in years, Marcus felt truly at peace. The past would always be part of him. Emma would always hold a place in his heart. But his future, his bright, beautiful future, belonged to Lily. 1 year later, the wedding took place not in London, where Marcus's world waited, but in a small chapel in the Cotswolds, the same countryside where Lily had hidden after the attack. It felt right to transform a place of fear into one of joy. The guest list was small. Victor stood as Marcus's best man, looking almost uncomfortable in his formal attire. A few trusted members of the Ashford organization attended, alongside Lily's parents who'd flown from Boston, bewildered but happy to see their daughter so radiant. Lily wore a dress she'd designed herself, watercolor silk that seemed to shift colors as she moved, more art than fashion. No veil, no train, nothing traditional. Just Lily, entirely herself. As Marcus watched her walk down the aisle, her father beaming with pride, his breath caught. Not because she looked like someone else, but because she looked exactly like what she was, his salvation, his future, his home. The ceremony was simple. No mention of death or ghosts or the darkness they'd both survived. Only promises of tomorrow. I vow to love you for who you are, Lily said, her voice steady and sure. Not who you've been or who you think you should be. I promise to stand beside you in the light and the shadows. To be your partner, your equal, your home. I choose you, Marcus Ashford. Every day, I choose you. Marcus's vows were more traditional, but his voice broke with emotion as he spoke them. When he reached "till death do us part," he paused. No, he said, going off script. Not till death. Beyond death. Whatever comes, Lily, I'm yours. In this life and whatever comes after. The vicar looked mildly scandalized, but Lily smiled through her tears. You may kiss your bride, the vicar finally announced. And Marcus did, kissing his wife with all the love of a man who'd learned that second chances were real, that grief didn't have to be endless, and that sometimes the greatest courage was letting yourself love again. The reception was held in a massive tent on the grounds, with fairy lights and wildflowers and Lily's paintings displayed like windows into their story. The first piece Marcus had ever commissioned from her, a painting of two people meeting in the rain, held pride of place. During their first dance, Marcus pulled Lily close and whispered, "Happy?" Deliriously, she murmured back. You. I didn't think I could be. After Emma. I thought happiness was done for me. That I'd used up my quota. He pulled back to look at her. Thank you for proving me wrong. That's what you get for falling in love with a stubborn American artist. Best decision I ever made. As the night wore on, toasts were made. Victor gave a surprisingly touching speech about watching Marcus come back to life. Lily's father welcomed Marcus to the family with only a slight threat about what would happen if he hurt his daughter. Even James and Cole, the stoic bodyguards, were seen smiling. Later, as fireworks lit up the countryside sky, Marcus's gift to his bride, Lily and Marcus stole away to a quiet corner of the garden. "I have something for you," Lily said, pulling out a small wrapped package. Inside was a painting, just 8 by 10 inches, but exquisite in detail. It showed 2 figures standing together, their faces turned toward a bright horizon. But behind them, rendered in softer tones, was a third figure, a woman with blonde hair, smiling peacefully, her hand raised as if in blessing. Marcus's throat tightened. "Lily. She's part of your story, Marcus. Part of what made you who you are. I'm not jealous of her memory. I'm grateful for it. She loved you, and that love taught you how to love me." Lily touched the painting gently. "She's not a ghost haunting us. She's a guardian angel, happy that you're happy." Marcus couldn't speak. He just pulled Lily into his arms and held her as emotion crashed over him, grief and gratitude and love all tangled together. "I love you," he finally managed. "God, Lily, I love you so much. I love you too. All of you. The darkness and the light." They stood like that for a long time, wrapped in each other, while above them the stars wheeled in their ancient dance and the future stretched out, bright with possibility. In London, Dmitry Volkov received a wedding invitation, a clear message from the Ashford boss. The war was over. Peace had won. Dmitry stared at the photo of Marcus and Lily, seeing not an opportunity for revenge, but something he'd never had, genuine happiness. He burned the invitation but filed away the message. Some battles weren't worth fighting. And in a small chapel in the Cotswolds, Marcus Ashford, feared Mafia boss, grieving widower, broken man, became whole again in the arms of the woman who'd walked into his life looking like a ghost but turned out to be his resurrection. Sometimes love dies in tragedy. But sometimes, just sometimes, it rises from the ashes, stronger and more beautiful than before. And Marcus and Lily lived happily ever after. Not because their life was perfect. Not because they never faced challenges. But because they faced them together, 2 scarred souls who'd learned that the best happy endings are the ones you fight for. Love is not about finding someone to live with. It's about finding someone you can't live without, and sometimes, finding them twice, in the most unexpected ways.